I used to spend 11 hours a day scrolling on my phone. That was my life. I used to wake up, scroll, eat, scroll, sleep, and then the next day wake up, scroll, eat, sleep, and the same thing over and over again. I did that since I was 10 years old until 17 years old. I spent 7 years of my life consuming. I had no skills. At this time, I didn't even have any friends, just because I simply didn't know how to speak to people. The only people that I knew, my only friends, were YouTubers online that didn't even know me. And you might be wondering, Michelle, what did you consume for 7 years straight? Well, I consumed all of the bottom of the barrel things. The only music that I listened to at the time was about sex, drugs, all of those things. No wonder why my mind was so messed up. I started listening to these kinds of music when I was 10 years old. I was brainwashing myself at such a young age. For 7 years, I filled my head up with garbage, with useless random content that I would simply forget 15 minutes after watching it. But one day, I was so messed up. I was failing all of my school exams, and throughout one of my scrolling sessions, I found this Brazilian businessman. And for those of you watching me that don't know, I grew up in Brazil and moved to a new country when I was 10. And this Brazilian businessman, he taught me about how most people live their lives, about how different the lives of 95% of people is against 5% of people, how the successful people live against, most people, the average people. He taught me about concepts that have always stuck with me until this day. He taught me about responsibility. Everything in your life is your fault. If you hate your life, is you created that for yourself, and because you created that, you can change it as well. None of the bad things in your life is someone else's fault. It's all your fault. And as you take responsibility, obviously, you can also begin to change your life, right? And some of these concepts have always stayed with me. And I found this Brazilian man when I was 16 years old. And that entered my 16-year-old mind. And I began to transform my life. Because, I was done being a nobody. I didn't want to be a nobody for the rest of my life. But this shift, it didn't happen overnight. I was still doing the things that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was still choosing the wrong things. But slowly, things began to change. I found more mentors like Evandro. I started improving my relationship with God. I started choosing discipline instead of comfort. I started doing less scrolling, and I started taking more of the actions that I needed to take. And that was when I started to actually live life. Because for 7 years, I wasn't living life. I was just consuming like a zombie, probably like most people. And when I turned 18 years old, I went to university, and there I took every opportunity that life gave me. I started giving talks at university. I went from that girl that used to go to the toilet at break times to eat her lunch by herself just because I didn't have any friends, and so I used to hide in the toilet by myself, to making so many friends at university, leveling up my confidence, leveling up my courage, to eventually give talks. I chose to stand up in front of people, in front of many people, to talk to people about self-improvement and about transforming your life. And who chooses to do that? Who chooses to stand up in front of a crowd of people and start talking to them? Well, I chose to do that many times. It wasn't one talk, it was many. At this time, I took every opportunity that life gave me. I went to different places, I saw different things, I learned different things. Of course, I took decisions that I regret until this day. But I learned from my mistakes. I learned to reject degeneracy and embrace God. I learned to stop living this messed up life and start, transforming my life. Let me tell you, I haven't listened to one of those sex and drug songs that I used to listen to for 6 months now. I'm completely free from all of those demonic things that I used to do. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I only listen to gospel music, not because I'm some Christian perfect girl, but just because I like it now, I went from a consumer to actually start living in real life. And this gave me self-respect. It gave me a purpose for my life. You know what happens when you stop being a consumer and you start living in real life? People start to admire you because you're different from the rest, because everyone else is scrolling on their phone, but you chose to move away from that. You start living a better life than everyone else around you. You start living differently and people admire you and they respect you for that, because it's way easier to just settle and stay in that comfort zone, just scrolling forever for 80 years of your life. But if you take the different action today, then you'll be different than everyone else. You can completely transform your life when you just stop consuming. You know what? Let me tell you exactly how you can change your life around right now. This is from one of my talks that I did. So listen up.
We're here and let's make the most out of this opportunity. There's a quote that goes like this: do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, some of you guys might know that this quote is from the Bible. What this is telling you is start by renewing your mind. Now, Michelle, what do you mean by this? What I mean by this is start by reading great books. Books that will show you new ways of thinking. Books like these ones. And don't just read these books, but go out there and implement exactly what these books are telling you to do. Change your mind by going to conferences that will expand your mind. Now, don't just do this. Change your lifestyle, change your mindset. Mm-hmm. Now is the time for you to start exercising, for you to eat clean, for you to sleep in the right time. Now is the time for you to develop the relationships with the people that you care about, with your family, with your friends, with God. Go out there and find mentors. Find someone that will guide you towards the right path. If you don't find this person in real life, then there's something called YouTube. There are people out there giving some great advice. So go out there and follow what they say. And the other part of the quote went like this: do not conform to the patterns of this world. What this means is stop living this average life. Go and do exactly the opposite of what the people that you don't want to be like are doing. If you see them scrolling on their phones, on TikTok, on Instagram, go and don't even download these apps on your phone. If you see them sleeping 2 a.m., then go and sleep 9 p.m. If you see them complaining, go and look at the road with a positive view. Never complain, be grateful for everything. And as you do that, you see yourself grow into levels that you never imagined before. Now everyone, let's try a quick exercise. I want everyone to close your eyes, and visualize yourself being 85 years old. You're 85 years old and you're looking at the sea. And you're feeling this very heavy feeling in your chest. And you realize that this feeling is all the regrets that's stored inside of you. You regret having wasted years of your life in that job that you didn't even care about. You regret having wasted years of your life scrolling. You regret not taking the opportunities that life gave you. Now everyone, open your eyes. open your eyes and know that there's still time to change. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not next week, but you can change today. And everyone who received this information, if you guys are feeling like, it's time for me to change, I cannot wait anymore, it's time for me to change. I want you guys to declare this with me and repeat after me. I will not settle.
I will not settle.
I will not settle. I will not settle for less than what I'm capable of.
I will not settle for less than I'm capable of.
I will change.
I will change.
And I will keep learning every day.
And I will keep learning every day.
Now everyone clap for yourselves. Because I see that you guys are on the path to greatness.
I gave that talk about 3 months ago now, and this talk was for a room full of strangers that I had never seen before. And you might be wondering, Michelle, how did you get the courage to go from a complete loser who didn't even know how to speak to people to developing the courage to, going out there in front of everyone? Well, I just did exactly what I said in the video. I took every opportunity that life gave me. I was still consuming, but instead of consuming those bad things that I was consuming, I started consuming actual useful things. So I followed my mentors, I started following their advice, I started consuming their content, self-improvement content, and then I started taking actions on what they said. And that's exactly when I started seeing any results in my life. I started giving talks. I started very small. My first talk was this one, where I'm just giving a talk to a friend about social skills. And it was about improving social skills, that talk. And my talks are all about self-improvement, which is what my course is about. Link in the description if you're interested. But that's exactly what I did to go from a consumer into actually living life. If you're watching this and you're stuck scrolling for hours every day and feeling ashamed because you know that you're wasting your time and you're wasting your life away, then let me tell you, now you know my story, and I overcame this. I'm not a dirty consumer anymore. And so here's my final advice for you who might be struggling with this, who might be addicted to your phone, who might be just scrolling for 11 hours like I was. And so this is the thing that actually allowed me to stop consuming. Number one, you need to get up and away from that place that you're usually scrolling on. So if you're usually scrolling on your bedroom, you need to get up and you need to go somewhere else. If you need to study, then study in the library. Don't study in your room anymore, because you're just gonna scroll like always. Come outside, come to nature, physically leave that place that you're scrolling on, and then you actually be less likely to scroll. And if you just heard me and you saw my whole story, my whole journey, and you're just gonna leave this video and click on another video, then I don't even need to tell you that you're simply wasting your time. And instead of doing that, why don't you do this instead? Come to nature, come stand next to a tree. When was the last time that you actually saw a tree in real life? You probably don't even remember. I know that in those days when I was scrolling, I didn't go outside. Come look at the sky, just leave your bedroom, don't click on another video, get outside right now. And if you want to begin your journey, or if you're ready on this journey to completely transform your life and become the person that you were meant to be, then stay on this channel, because that's the exact path that I am on.